Good afternoon, David.
And if you want to know where the weather is where you are, look at your own bloody window.
Well, no, that's the morning. This is the afternoon. You you're getting confused, you dizzy old git. Start as you mean to go on, why don't you? I can see it's going to be one of the ones.
no,
Anyway, let's see who's in.
no. There's some we agreed was the comedy's fine, but there's times we've got to discuss some stuff that's a bit serious, and really we need to back down the comedy on
Hey,
that.
hi, Gillian, Eddie, Wolfpet, Peter, Stephen, McNeil, Reagan White, good afternoon, young man. We'll listen to you later.
And there's that one. Get out of my pub, Ange. All right,
And
Ange.
Robert Bruce is in, Stephen Nichols in, June's in, Ange is in. Hi, Ange. Hope you're behaving yourself. Well, we've seen. Yeah, we're in Discord the other night, and Angie's on holiday, and she's in there and all. What is it with you people? You're supposed to be on bloody holiday. You don't get put in the naughty step for being on holiday, otherwise Millie can still be on it. Right. I want to cover today. We'll get Swinney's response to the debacle that's going on in Westminster. We'll be talking a wee bit about Peter Muro, Faz Lane, the borders, and of course, everybody likes a chuckle at Anna Sarwar. We'll get another one today. And then we'll move down that road. We'll talk about Corbyn and his latest wheeze. Then we'll talk about Prax, which is very interesting, folks.
Yes.
Then we'll discuss whether Rachel for council will have a job at the end of the week. Next week, that is. And then we'll talk about BBC bias, David. So we'll start off with John having a pop on the telly last night at the shambles that is the Westminster's reform bill and Labour's handbrake turns, which aren't handbrake turns, they're just kicks into the long grass. Hey, what do you reckon? Was it the right thing for him today, politically?
I think he should get his trap shot and got working on Scottish independence. But anyway, that's just me, right? However,
Well, anyway, John.
However, right? Okay, talking about actually the mess that's down that road, right? Always been a mess down that road. It's just that since Labour took over, it's an even bigger mess.
Oh, fuck. Listen, you could. I mean, I can't believe it, David. I thought under the last three Tory prime ministers it could not get worse.
Ah, true.
But it fucking is.
Yes.
But anyway, John says, because of the way your social security is run here, it's run with compassion. And because that we're willing to use the tax system to spread the burden more evenly, that's what's financing the fact that people own a disability, adult disability payment here in Scotland, a £3 a week better off than those in England. Now, the Scottish Fiscal Commission is telling us that at this point in time, we are spending 6.1 billion on the benefit system here in Scotland, the majority of which is going in sickness benefits. But they are saving a fair bit of money because they don't have this carry on a reassessment. Because once you're assessed here, you're on it until you're off it.
Yeah, that's right.
And it'll be your doctor that decides whether you get back on it or not.
Yeah. The reassessment, if you imagine, I can imagine it caused a few heart attacks in the past. People just worried about being reassessed.
But John Edmund wanted to tell the television what this basically what I've been saying, what you've been saying, David, is these bums have decided to punch down in the wasties when they had other options.
Yes. Could have done all sorts. Could have done all. My goodness, can you imagine having that kind of power? What you do is you go, right, you want to leave a country, leave your bank book, leave your checkbook out, right? You can leave the country, but you're not taking your fucking money with you, right?
Well, they can take their money. They can't take their assets, but they can take their money.
Correct.
You know. But the other thing he was having a pop at them about, what does it say, the tax system. He says this wouldn't be necessary if they just fucking use the tax system properly the way we have. Reband everything, and you're bringing £11.1 billion more a year. That'll cover these payments, plus leave you £5 billion headroom, fiscal room. Are you listening, Rachel?
Too late.
That's basically what John was telling them on the telly last night. Are you listening, Rachel? You can do what we do and raise £11 billion, and these people wouldn't need to be thrown into fucking poverty, because all they've done is kicked it down into long grass. Existing people doing that. Well, John also pointed out that we don't do PIP up here. It's a different thing altogether, and that we have no intention of cutting or changing the way the system works.
Yeah.
So the Fiscal Commission tells you, by the end of the century, by the end of the decade, we'll be finding out 7.1 billion instead of 6.1 billion, or sorry, 7.2 billion in benefits. So what? Provided the economy grows sufficiently and wages keep increasing the way they are here in Scotland, because we now have a bigger average wage than what they have down that road, then it'll be affordable. But as I say, he had a right go at them really for this, no taking the easy option and just following Scotland's tax system. You know?
Easiest way is don't tell them anything and just get independence. Once we get independence, they can watch from the southern side of a 17-foot chain link fence at what we do. Something like that.
17 foot? I could fucking hurdle that, you bam. You better make it higher.
Well, make it higher then.
17 foot? I'm 57 and I can leap that in a single bound.
Could you?
Okay, well, anyway, as we all know, folks, David and I know, you know, Rachel had an awful lot of options, and she chose to punch the poorest. So she gets what she deserves. And we'll talk a wee bit more about that later. Peter Muro has been granted legal aid over embezzlement charges, and it would appear the unions are going to have to nut at this.
No, but in that situation, it doesn't matter how much money he's got or whatever. It is purely automatic.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's what amazes me, that these people are that stupid they don't know that.
Yeah, it's automatic, and you know, for people going, oh, that's dreadful. A man with the amount of money, he's all of a sudden he's got to be getting free legal. It's not legal aid anyway. Anybody that goes for legal aid, the solicitor or beak will say to them, it's not legal aid, it's legal lend. You know that, don't you?
Anyway, the man's entitled to it. We still don't know what this embezzlement is, what it is he's supposed to have embezzled. And he's going to need King's Counsel. He is going to need King's Counsel, and they don't come cheap.
Well, also the picture that was taken and put up, if you like, he was sat at a desk and he was having a nice smile. So that's no, I don't think he is. I don't think he is.
No, I don't think he is either. As you see that picture, we look pretty relaxed, you know.
Yeah.
Right, now this is an important story, David. The ferret and getting freedom of information on nuclear releases and nuclear dangers at a Faslane and Coalport.
Yeah.
Now, apparently SEPA's been having a battle with the Information Commissioner, trying to get them to keep a rap on it for national security. But as we've always pointed out, David, there's a reason why the beats in oncology is in Glasgow.
Yeah. I mean, in actual fact, it's like, see if we get to the bottom of this, right? I'm hoping at the very, very least, we've now got the opportunity to ask some rather embarrassing questions.
Well, this information will be released by the Information Commissioner on the 28th of July, David. We'll be watching for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm really watching for it. Because there is going to be a reason.
The important date is this information must be released by SEPA on the 28th of July or before, right?
Or before,
And
right.
as far as that's concerned, why SEPA? Why have SEPA
Because they're told to clean the mess up, David.
part of the Scottish government? Why are they hanging on to this information? Why have they not leaked it?
Well, they'll tell you the two reports that they're still fighting for about this situation on leaks and spillages and dangers at Faslane and Coalport. You know, they're claiming that they can't release them on national security reasons.
Well, I'm hoping that it doesn't get watered down.
Well, as I say, 2 out of 4 are being released. There's another 2 to be released, and there's more in the pipeline which SEPA are fighting. And the MOD will probably get involved in fighting the release of this information. But it's really important that we get it.
Vanguard nuclear submarines, the power plant that actually drives the submarine and makes it go forward is nuclear. And what it does, it takes in seawater and it goes round the system and it pumps it back out again. The only problem is it comes back out again with something attached to it. It's called cobalt-60. There's no safe amount in the human body for cobalt-60. And that cobalt-60 is all the way down the Clyde. You do a test on the Clyde, you'll actually find this stuff, cobalt-60, right?
I'm sure you've all, David, seen, especially as they power their way into Faslane, they ditch the water just before they drift in.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, they used to hold it in tanks, believe it or not. Yeah. But now they just discharge it into the Clyde, where we're being told it's being diluted enough by the tide.
It's not.
Right. But we would be interested in this one. There is a reason why one of the world's best cancer facilities is in Glasgow in the west of Scotland. And they've also got a place here in Lanarkshire at the heart of the industrial base where Scotland was. And the reason for them is because, coal miners, steel workers, all these people subject to cancers. And of course, out there on the west coast, out there where David is, and up that side of the country, there's everybody who reason to believe that this nuclear base could be contributing to the amount of cancer cases here in the west of Scotland.
Yes, I mean, if you look at the prevailing wind in the west of Scotland is southwesterly. And that means that any moisture or whatever gets blown right up the Clyde estuary, right the way into Glasgow and beyond, right?
Uh-huh.
In the story.
No, I'll tell you what, we're not eating any fish for the Clyde again. They're just going to cleaned up enough for the salmon to live in. Now they're going in the fucking dark.
There's a lad that I used to deal with. He actually said, I wonder if that's the reason why I got cancer. Because he used to go swimming. Yeah, round the corner from Coalport. Yeah, so.
Aye. Right, this has been an ongoing one, David, but it's been knocked back by the council. There's one on the other side of the country in the border. This one's in Dumfries and Galloway.
Yeah.
And it's Dumfries and Galloway knocks the head on a 200 metre turbine development at Tweedmoor. And it came with a battery storage unit to store any excess power being produced.
Best information to put out there is 7 of those 7 biggies, 7 of the
200 metre turbine
is 200 meters, right? That can produce enough power for 46,500 houses.
And it's also going to store excess power.
Yeah. And
store excess power for when it's no needed,
As far as that's concerned, down the borders, Dumfries and Galloway, that sort of area, right? You can power probably every house from that. You don't need a nuclear.
And to be fair, there's not much out there in Tweedmoor.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, there isn't much out there in Tweedmoor. It's bang smack in the middle of fucking nowhere.
That's right.
Yeah. But to say, you and I know what's going to happen here, don't we, David? The Scottish government's going to call this one in.
That's right. They're going to go, it's going in, shut up, Back off.
Either that, they'll tell them to drop the height down to about 140 metres and
No, they won't, because that's an important thing, is the actual height, because obviously, as you know and I know, the wind blows at different levels at different heights.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Aye, well, as I say, you and I know that the Scottish Government's going to call this one in. Now, will they say, aye, go ahead and upset Dumfries and Galloway? Aye, why not? It's a fucking Tory area.
Yeah. Right.
Nah. If they voted SNP, the answer would be no. Now, we all know that's not how it works, David. Yeah. What happens is there'll be a government reporter appointed. They'll go do the investigation and they'll recommend either yes or no to the government. It won't actually be the government themselves that will make that decision, folks, just in case you didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, what will happen is somebody will be appointed, the reporter, as they will be called, and they will look into the development, the feasibility of the development, the benefits of the development, and then they will give their recommendation to the Scottish Government. And the Scottish Government will make their decision based on that.
The benefits of the development is that powers 46,000 homes. And the downside of it is that in an area where nobody can fucking see it, right? Even how big they are.
David,
right?
Is used for recreational purposes.
It spoils the look of the place. Oh, for putting my head up, I can see a tip of the blooming blade.
David, Moor is used extensively for recreational activities.
Like what?
Well, for a start, there's a park there. It's parkland. People have the right to roam. There's plenty of rivers and bungs. There's even a bit of gold hunting goes on down there.
It's fine. Well, I'm not going to stop them for rattling their wee dishes to get some gold out. So
no big game.
As long as they don't stop me from putting up great big poles that provide power for all these houses.
David, as far as I'm concerned, the park can still be, the area can still be used for recreational facilities. I don't think it'll be that intrusive in an area that big.
No, it will be, because there'll be people somewhere saying, I can fucking see it. I can see it.
NIMBYism, David, not in my backyard.
That's right, yeah. NIMBYism, that's what it is. Yeah.
Well, as I say, the reporter will give his report to the Scottish Government once they call it in, because they will.
Yeah.
And the decision will be made. So we'll look out for a decision being made in about 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, again.
When the due diligence has been done on it.
What's in brief?
Aye. Right, now, of course, we all like a laugh at Annas, folks, and Jesus, he's totally embarrassed this week, isn't he? And we're all chuffed the fuck about it.
You know the thing is, Bogut comes in, he pulls his car keys out his pocket and goes, bastard, I have another fucking deal like that, right? I can imagine Annas does that every time he does a boast of it. Oh, the Labour government, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And you make sure you stick with us. I'm going to be in charge. I'm going to be First Minister and all this stuff, right? And then this happens. And Manasar must go home, throw his keys in the tail and go, bastard, Starmer, done it to me again. Right, there you go.
Well, he did, didn't he? Because Annas has just spent the last 3 weeks sticking up for his fucking benefit cuts. You turned on them again.
That's right. Yeah.
Hey, imagine standing in front of the Scottish people and saying, this is going to be done. This is going to be done. It's prudent. It's the right thing to do. The right thing to do. And then Starmer fucking changes. Anyway, Anna Sarver's trying to justify throwing 250,000 people in poverty, 50,000 of them as fucking children, and Starmer goes, oops, you turn.
But it is the brass neck of the man. So, anybody else would go, this is, how many times this has happened to him? Must be 20 times this happened to him. Since.
Well, I'll tell you what, David. I mean, he's fucking incompetent as a politician. I'd hate to have seen him as a dentist.
Fuck's sake, man. Do you know the only language he really knows? It's not English. It's not in Pakistani. It's
stupid as stupid does, David. I don't know why they haven't replaced him already. Probably because of that by-election when he got away with it. No counting the 7 by-election losses that
we
they
all
had to
have,
the
we all have been Anasawa, leave here and don't darken our door again, right? And he doesn't
And I see Mo
understand it.
didn't get his
He actually said it to him like this. You'd understand then, you know what I mean? So
but I mean, the SNPs has recently had a good run of by-election wins. The last by-election in Edinburgh didn't go so well.
yeah.
Mo Sarosa, the Sarosa channel, another pro-independence blogger on YouTube, stood, and I'm afraid he came third. I think it was second. But he's not been put off in Stone again. But it was a Lib Dem sort of Labour area of Edinburgh he was in, you know.
Yeah.
So there you go. But I mean, totally useless, absolutely embarrassing. He spent days and days and weeks on the telly justifying these cuts to PIP, knowing fine well it doesn't affect the people of Scotland. But he does know that the universal credit sickness element will affect people in Scotland. So he was trying to justify the whole bloody thing to the people of Scotland. And
sorry.
It's just a total embarrassment.
Yeah. Yes,
a total embarrassment. I have absolutely no idea why he's still in position, except for, as I say, that by-election win. Why are these comments not moving for me today? That's comments. Better. Comments inside the screen.
I've got that as well.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, it's just another weekly joke, a weekly laugh at Annis.
Yeah.
But he's getting a lot of protection from the press. And he's getting a lot of coverage for the press.
Yeah. So is
and every time you put on a Facebook fucking programme or a fucking YouTube channel, up will pop Annis's ugly puss because the Labour Party's get millions of pounds to throw at ads.
So is Nigel Farage.
Yes.
It seems to me that living in Scotland, unless you are idiotic and you want to vote Labour or Reform or Tory or Lib Dem, right? You're gonna get torn ribbons by the mainstream media, because what they'll do is they'll try and get people like Anasawa, keep him up. Nigel Farage, let's get him in. Let's get plenty of points for him. Or is it?
Stevie, you're absolutely right. Anasawa makes bouncy boy. He is just another bouncy boy, isn't he?
Right.
He is just another Richard.
I remember him. Yeah.
Aye, him. He absolutely is another bouncy boy, Richard Leonard. That's exactly what he is. Right, shall we? Well, just a bit, we've covered that a wee bit fast, but we're going to move on. And down that road, Jeremy Corbyn is thinking about starting another a party of the left.
You read it and you go, right, okay. So far, he's got a handful of people that are involved, right?
But they're all elected MPs, and if you can group them together, I mean, look at the size of the Labour movement he built.
Yeah.
He had 500,000 members when he left. 250,000 were on the left of politics, and they've abandoned it.
He keeps on the straight and narrow in terms of like attacking all the stuff that Labour and Tory and Reform are all looking to do, right? Which is hammer down on the little man. If they put together a party where we're looking after the little man, they'll get backers, most of all.
Well, if you take it, he had 500,000 members of the Labour Party, right? Under Starmer, it's down to 200,000. That's 300,000 people that might flock to his banner.
That's right.
You know?
But the problem is,
if they can get this coalition of the independents in Westminster together to create a party, it will be on the left. And he says they will have candidates running at the next election.
Yeah. Now he has said that if he was to get elected, my goodness me, it's a long chalk, this one. If he was to get elected, then he would give Scotland permission on a referendum, right? Which effectively would be very, very good. That being the case. But in the past, I've heard him saying, no, I don't agree with it. But at the same time, he has said he would give up.
Always said he's a Democrat.
I tell you who has all of a sudden come out as pro-independence? Gorgeous George Galloway. He's
I heard that. I did hear that.
The pro-independence. Brilliant.
Aye. I did hear that.
Yeah.
Right,
everybody wants to be a cat because a cat's the only cat that knows it.
No interest in Galloway. I'm interested in the idea that a serious politician might actually get a chance to break through. Do you think so? Do you think if you could put this coalition together, you think they'd let him live?
No.
Thank you. Because that was obviously my next question. If he gets this party up and running and he gets a membership that used to be in the Labour Party to join him, I think they'd take him out, David.
Yeah, it's like the weapons inspector before the Iraqi Desert Storm.
Aye, Doctor, what do you call him? Dr. White, was it?
Yeah.
The guy who was found with his wrists cut under the tree.
Aye.
And a bloody cold night where the blood would have congealed and stopped him from dying.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, how sick do these people think we fucking are?
Yeah, I know.
Right, this is an interesting story. Prax Lindsay oil refinery near Immingham, North East Lincolnshire, is being bailed out at the moment by state aid. The UK government is paying for its continued operations via the administrator.
Well,
we had a statement last week on this for Ed Miliband, but it seems to have been retracted yesterday. Statement.
A week ago, Miliband was quoted as saying that he was looking at a refinery in England for taking it over, right?
Yep.
It looks like they're not going to take it over, but to be honest with you, it's one of those that you're going to have to keep an eye on. Because
it's a watching brief.
Yeah.
What Michael Shanks, the energy protection fucking minister, said yesterday, or state energy protection minister Michael Shanks said yesterday in the Commons, was that they're fine for the administrators. They'll be looking to sell the business. The administrators are looking to sell the business off as an ongoing operation.
Or is he saying that? Or is he saying that to stop people in Scotland being so pissed off with it and actually hearing the words, fuck you, Scotland?
Well, as I say,
Shanks is a little traitorous bastard, as far as I'm concerned.
Listen, David, it is a watching brief. At this point in time, the government's funded the administrators because the owners of the Prax Refinery have actually racked up 75 million quid worth of debt since they've taken it over.
But they haven't. Wait, hang on a second, right? If they've bought assets, right, an asset isn't really a debt. If you look at the spreadsheet for it, right, it's an asset. And
it was eventually it'll pay for itself. But basically, what happened was they spent 75 million building a network of petrol stations and stores.
Yeah.
And the petrol stations are called State Oil. We don't see them up here.
Yeah, but
the company that runs the petrol station is called State Oil.
Also, it's the people that own the shares in that business that got £5 million dividends.
5.7 million in dividends last year, aye.
Hey, we've got your fucking money now. Huh? There you go. Yeah, that's the way it goes. They won't be seen for dust. Something like that. It's the oldest story in the book.
Jason, I don't know any more about Michael Gove and his indie support thing. I tell you, the reason why they're hiding that is got nothing to do with Scotland. The reason they're hiding that is attitude towards England's leaving the Union.
Yeah.
But folks, this is a watching brief. Dave and I have got a funny feeling they're going to nationalise us.
Yeah. Got a feeling of water on this one. definitely. Well,
I
that was
think
never
they're going
wrong.
to sell off, David. I think they'll sell off the associated industries.
I was down a rabbit hole, and a rabbit came up and went, they're going to buy that.
I think they're going to buy it and all, but I think they're going to. I think they're going to allow the associated businesses like the petrol stations that be sold off. But I think they're going to keep it. I think the state will eventually buy the refinery.
Well,
This is a watching brief.
Sh-
This is a watching brief.
you look at the words that came out of Shanks' mouth, immediately should tell you he's trying to cover up. He's trying to cover up.
But he was basically saying yesterday the business will be broke up and or it will be sold as an ongoing concern. You know, I've got a funny feeling what will happen is they'll sell off the petrol stations, they'll sell off associate businesses in Europe, and then the UK government will step in and buy the refinery. I think that's what's going to happen here, folks.
Yep.
So this is a watching brief, especially if you're in the Grangemouth area. And Brian Leishman, he'll be getting an email from me telling him, you keep an eye on this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Because if they nationalise that, then you'll be able to go back to your constituents and tell them. You'll be able to go back and tell them, these bastards could have done the same with you.
Yeah. Oh.
Right, David, all the outlets we've been looking at today seems to suggest that Rachel for accounts isn't going to be Rachel for accounts much longer.
No, definitely. I'll give it a week. Seriously. Starmer, he was hitting there, stroking his chin and going, I better not do it right now because she tears, right? Or else what he'll be doing is waiting for a phone call from Netanyahu or Trump in order to tell him what to do. It's one of the two. Are you frozen up on me again?
No, Sir Larry, that boy, he hasn't. That was his dad. That was his dad. Nice one, Mr. Committee Larry. Nice one, Larry. Right there, I mean, David, as I say, I don't think Rachel's got long to go. I think her and McSweeney are for the person.
We're being told on the face of it, the reason why Rachel.
I can't send me a copy of that. You got a copy, you got a PDF of the Gove report if anybody wants a copy. Another thing they wanted to hide in the report is that people don't care much for religion anymore either. Send me a copy of that, Karen, please.
Well, I do.
Thank you.
But I don't believe in religion. I believe in Christianity. There you go.
But no, the Rachel got the dreaded vote of confidence. Now, she was a football manager. She'd know what's coming. Well, once you get the vote of confidence, you're out the fucking door.
Let's look at the facts here, right? She had a stoochie with Angela Rayner before coming into the main House of Commons, right? The previous night, I think it was the previous night, Lindsay Hoyle, the speaker, had a go at her for being too long in the answers, right? So he had words with her when she came into the House of Commons hall, right? And maybe quite truthfully, she had problems at home, but that shouldn't affect somebody that's a professional, right?
Oh, as I say, David, there's more to it than that.
As far as I'm concerned, of course there's more to it, but she is political toast. Simple as that.
And now, by Thursday, what date's this?
It's the 3rd.
By next Thursday, we'll get June's economic data.
Yeah.
And that's going to fucking rattle her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And we'll see what the Bank of England does to rattle her and all when it comes to the financial statement. They make it financial decisions.
They've held down the interest rate
at 4.5.
Yeah, but they are going to be forced to go upwards because of lack of growth.
That controls inflation, David, you're right.
Yeah.
In fact, at this point in time, they're going against their own doctrine. They're not even trying to bring inflation down. They're just sending her a letter each month.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the last month's set of economic data covered the first 2 quarters of the year, and 0.3% shrinkage, and another 0.3% shrinkage in the economy. Inflation up.
The reason why the
unemployment up.
bank kept the interest rate down was they knew if they put interest rate up, a lot of businesses would have gone to the wall. Straightforward. Yeah.
Yep.
But now they've got no
But as I
choice.
say, that I think the writing's on the wall for Rachel, because she's had that dreaded vote of confidence. If she was a football manager, she'd understand what that meant. Starmer is a football man. He was yelling in the roundabout way.
You mean the House of Commons are a game of two halves?
That's it. But Starmer is a football man, and he will know. He will know that he's just given her the kiss of death. Whether she fucking knows it or no, he knows it. Because if you're a football manager and you get that vote of confidence for the board, you know your arse is out the window.
By the way, bit of an awful headline that I heard was a wee centre forward for Liverpool. He got married 2 weeks ago. He was in Spain. He's died in a car accident. 28 years of age. I don't know. I forget the guy's name, but it was
you know me with sports stories.
Just when you mentioned football.
Aye. But as I say, it looks like Rachel's arse is out one day. It really does.
Yeah.
Rachel will be back at the Bank of England next week serving tea.
Well, we'll have her as a
she'll be in the back benches.
Well, yeah, we'll have her as a tea lady. That's it. Simple as that, you know.
Well, she'll be back at the Bank of England making tea. She'll be well for Davey and I on a Monday and a Thursday. Making tea. No, she'll be a backbench empty.
Thanks, Rachel.
Aye. This one's on you, Rachel. What's Reagan Elite saying? I don't think Starmer's got long to go either, Reagan Elite. You're absolutely right. You were saying you were going to give him the first year, when the first year's over tomorrow. Yeah.
In an ideal world.
It's not looking good, young man. It's not looking good.
In an ideal world, there would be a motion of no confidence in Starmer within
the government altogether.
Yeah.
Speak up a wee bit, David. Your volume's a bit low today.
Sorry.
Are you a wee bit further back for the mic? Is that?
Yeah. Anyway,
I know you're not in the wheelchair today, so you can't roll closer.
That's right. A vote of no confidence. I've got the walking stick here. Vote of no confidence is needed. Let's say for.
Well, let's put it this way: has anybody got any confidence in this government? Stick a comment in the comments if you actually have confidence in the Westminster government at this point in time.
Oh, look, there's now on the comments saying, I fucking love him.
No, but I mean, David, really? I mean, okay, right, we're prejudiced. We already knew he was going to be a disaster before he fucking came to office. Yeah. We were warning people about him before he came to office. Us in Big Mad Studios were telling everybody this guy's a fucking fascist.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And now that he's in office and is acting like a fucking fascist.
And also, if you remember back then, he changed from policy decisions to, I think we're going to do this. Do you remember that?
Right.
Remember, he didn't actually have any policies that he was putting out. Just, I think we'll do this and I think we'll do that. And that was it.
Well, to be honest with you, David, when this fucking lot came to government, it was quite clear they were going to be a continuity government.
Yeah.
And they have been a continuity government. I mean, John Swinney has been accused, and Nicola Sturgeon was accused, and Humza Yousaf was accused of being a continuity government. Hey, hello, folks. It's been a long-term project, like 18 years for the SNP, and continuing the work of the predecessors is exactly what they're doing. But that's not supposed to happen with opposition parties.
Yeah.
Opposition parties, when they become the government, are supposed to come in and change things. But this lot have come in and doubled down on everything the Conservatives did before. And if that's not what we call continuity government, David, what is it?
The thing is that your reaction to that was absolutely amazing. Was the fact that you couldn't, you thought, Tories, it can't get any worse than this. It just cannot get any worse than this. And then in comes Starmer. There it goes. It is worse.
Aye.
You know.
I mean, but David, to be fair, before the election, we were campaigning online for the SNP and telling people.
Yeah.
On this programme, we were telling people the man's a fascist. Big Madge down the road at Big Madge Studios were telling you the guy's a fascist. Mason were saying we'll give him a year, which is fair enough. Well, guess what? That year's over tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I can tell you the first 12 months have been a fucking disaster. I have never seen a weaker government, a government more complicit in genocide and war crimes and breaking international law.
Yeah.
I've never seen a government whack down in the poor as hard as this fucking mob. Hi, Rachel. How many children you thrown into poverty this week, darling?
Yeah.
She just showed up. She just showed up in the comment.
But it doesn't, if you look at the policies that are coming out, it doesn't make any kind of human sense. Yeah. When you look at Rachel...
I mean, Rachel knows that vote of confidence is the way out the door because she's been through 2 boxes of hankies today.
Yeah. The thing is, when you look at Rachel Reeves, at some point, somebody must have said, but do you realise how many kids you're going to put into poverty?
The answer was, I don't care. The books don't balance.
Yeah. So, obviously. You know.
Now, the next story's a cracker, but it is very important. Right, thanks, Kaz. I'll have a wee look at that. Thanks very much.
Is this about 101 BBC journalists? 111?
Yes.
Right.
That's a very important story because it brings the spotlight on Robin Gibb.
Yes.
Who has editorial control down that road, people, and over the BBC here in Scotland, as David rightly pointed out.
Yeah.
And he is a Conservative agent working within the BBC, but he is also an Israeli agent working within the BBC.
Yes. Because what he did was, it was a Jewish Chronicle.
Yeah, 2020 about the Jewish Chronicle, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he was a director right up till 2024 when he took his position at the BBC.
August 2024.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and we've got this 111 BBC journalists that have written this letter, all signed by each one of them, basically saying this guy is stopping us from reporting on Palestine.
Without fear and prejudice, fear of consequences.
Without fear of favour. And for a journalist, anybody writing a story with a gun pressed against their blowing temple, is ridiculous. That's effectively what this guy has done.
He's got control. He's on the BBC board and he chairs the Broadcasting Standards Authority.
That's right.
Wow. And he's also the head of BBC Standards.
Yeah, you know that David and I are both against the BBC. But those journalists, if you imagine, it's like they have a way.
I've said, well, we've got more information for you on Monday where this money is going, okay.
They're hoping to make sure that they still have a house, they have a mortgage, all the rest of it, right? And their jobs are being threatened all the time if they step out of line.
Thanks very much.
The BBC, the actual setup of the BBC is wrong. And the reason it's wrong is because people like him are in the middle going, no, you're not going to say that, you'll say this.
And Hootsman says change, no chance. That's why we think if Corbyn manages to get this party up and running and he looks like he's going to be making an impact, we think they'll put him down.
Yeah.
But you see, the idea that you've got 100 of the journalists, their aim journalists, penning a letter saying we can't broadcast this subject without fear of losing their jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's outrageous.
Uh,
The idea
Emily,
that this one guy
Emily
is
Maitland,
controlling the whole narrative of Gaza.
yeah, Emily Maitland, that's no longer part of the BBC anymore, right? She's said several things about BBC and about what it's doing, but she's never until now actually mentioned this Mr. Gibb
Aye.
in particular. She has now. And the 111 journalists pinning a letter, knocking somebody like that, that's quite heavy. That really is quite heavy.
Well, Chris, we'll see you at the conference because apparently we're going to decide the way forward in independence at the conference this year, Chris. So
Yeah,
we are apparently.
I wonder what Mr. Spinney's going to do at that one.
Well, if I'm denied the delegates pass again, I'm not going.
Yeah.
The last couple of times I've applied to the branch to get a delegates pass, and I've been told you can have a visitors pass. I'm a party member. I want my right to vote.
If you're denied a delegates pass this time, this is me speaking, I want to know who it is that's denied you.
No,
because
your branch to get the pass.
Because we're going to put their name all over social media.
Well, anyway.
See, something like that.
To say, the last one is, you know, folks, I applied to my branch secretary and I was told, the name of delegates pass, we can get your visitors pass. I'm a member, I want my fucking voting rights.
That's right.
Visitors passes are for the fucking press, not for members.
That's right. So you make sure and just go, look, I don't get a delegates pass this time. Your name is going to be all over social media. It's not going to be very nice.
Well. But I don't think it was a secretary. I think she applied for my pass for me.
That's fine. That's okay. But you find who it is that knocked it back. Something like that. Yeah.
Need to find the board at head office that knocked it back. Who was knocking back delegate passes to my branch members.
Doesn't matter if it was John Swinney himself. If you find it's John Swinney, my goodness me, we could write a few things about him. Couldn't we? Huh? Right. We need to make sure that you are a voice that I rely on, because I can't get to these conferences. So you're a voice that I rely on. So therefore, I want you there.
Right, I need to address this one. David, you can get an online delegates pass. By the way, a British passport is a false document because Britain's not a country. Neither is the United States, neither is Germany, neither is Spain, but they all issue passports.
That's right.
They're all states.
Yeah.
None of them are countries.
Yeah.
You're getting a backbench pass race, Rachel. But no, the idea, David, that we all knew about BBC bias here in Scotland, the fact that it was being controlled by the state.
Yeah.
And the pile on the idea of Scottish independence, and the pile on in the SNP is deliberate by the state because they're shite scared we're going to get up and walk away. But now we know that they're also controlling the narrative on Israel's war crimes. The other thing the BBC has never done is question the complicity of this government in war crimes. They have never done it. That sort of thing's been covered by you, me, all the vloggers out there. And most of the exposés that have been done on it are being done by Declassified UK.
In this letter by 111 journalists, it actually mentions that particularly.
Yes. Right. It's actually the editors that are breaking all the news stories on this because they can't, they're frightened.
Yeah.
Which is something that really needs an inquiry.
Yeah. If you imagine these journalists that are employed by the BBC, it's like we complain about the BBC and we complain about them all the time. But you look at these journalists and they've got brains. They can come to the same conclusions that we do, right?
Mhm.
And you look into Hamas on 7th of October 2023, and it's like you look back and you go, how long has this been happening for? And all of a sudden you go, oh, it's been happening since 1947.
Aye.
Ah,
That's the other thing the mainstream media here, David, has done. They have neglected to give context to this conflict.
yes,
They don't want us. Remember, the reason this all started was 1948, the
yeah,
Nakba,
yeah,
and then, of course, 1967, and the occupation of the rest of Palestine,
yeah,
and then up to the 90s, where they turned Gaza
yeah,
into the late 90s, we turned Gaza into a concentration camp,
yeah,
a closed city to the rest of the world,
yeah.
a closed area to the rest of the world, a closed area to those who live in it to escape it. And those who did get out were denied the right to return.
The one thing that we did mention before was that Netanyahu has been pulled into the courtroom again.
Aye.
Previously, when he was asked to attend court to do this, he put it off because he said Israel's at risk. We've got problems happening here, right? And eventually, do you mind, David? I'm at that point. And effectively, the court said, "No, you've had 4 or 5 goes at this, and you come. Let's answer some questions here." So we need to, like, when you look at that and put that in a watching brief as well,
And
because
Rachel says, Rachel Fair Counts is asking if somebody can get the people singing Tears of a Clown as they walk past our fucking front door to chuck it. That's actually Mr. Starmer that's doing that and Larry the Cat, Rachel.
do you
Because you live
do
in a
you
closed street.
do you think it's going to do any good? No.
Oh, see, David, when you think about it, she lives in a closed street, Downing Street. There's only people that work there, the cops and Larry the Cat kicking about. So it must be them that's singing it. Hey. But no, back to the BBC, David. This is it really is. It's time for an inquiry into this.
James Mason puts up a damn good point. He says the British said they would look after the interests of the Palestine people. They did not. In actual fact, no. It was Lord, what's his face that wrote to Rothschild, was it?
Balfour.
Balfour. That's right. Right. And
It's called
actually,
the Balfour Declaration, David.
ridiculous. I did just the names escape me, right? But what he
Aye.
said was, well, on that letter, effectively said that no matter what happens, the people of Palestine, their rights and all the rest of it have to be dealt with properly, right? And that has not happened.
No. But as you know, David, the British state offered the land of Palestine to 3 different tribes at one point.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for the fact that the Americans and the Brits didn't want to take the European Jews after the Second World War, they were actually, the Jewish people, folks, whether you know this or no, had become boat people. As they were fleeing Europe, the UK and the US wouldn't let them in.
That's right.
And that brought about the need for the Balfour situation and the handing over to a large strip of land in Palestine to the Jewish people.
Now, in actual fact, had these people been allowed to come into the United Kingdom, right? They'd have been all right. They'd have been fine, right? What I would like you to do, David, and this is a quest for you, right? And we have discussed this, right? Is to look at the Viking takeover of the United Kingdom, and then look at the Norman invasion of Britain, right? Blah blah blah, and see where they came in and they started killing people and kept on killing people, or if they actually integrated with the rest of the population. It'd be
I
nice.
actually have the answer to that one, David, right on the tip of my tongue because I've been looking at DNA lately. And it would appear they integrated rather nicely, thank you very much, and put in their war tools and picked up their farming tools.
Yeah.
And buried into local populace.
There you go. So therefore, you have to look at this from the point of view of what kind of people were these? What kind of people were these? Is this the same situation as you get a child that's beaten by its parents, becomes a child beater later on in life? Is it the Jewish people because they were translated by the Nazis that effectively they came and they started doing it to other people? I think that's the whole thing leaves me in disgust. It really does.
The whole fucking saga leaves me in disgust. I mean, here's a people who was persecuted by the Germans right across Europe, and what was left of them tried to leave the continent of Europe because, let's face it hadn't been very kind to them.
Yeah.
And like is happening with refugees today, we don't want them, apparently.
Well, again, Chris has put up a rather nice comment there. When you look at Israel, Israel is actually right at the core of everything. And what's happening is that you give money to Israel, Israel gives it some of the juices off the dripping roast goes back to the politician that made a few people go their direction, right? How do you deal with that? At the moment, I don't really have a good answer. We need for people that are honest to become our politicians. At the moment, it seems they're few far between.
Aye, that's true, David. That's true. Right, I suppose we better wind this one up because I don't want to finish on an unhappy story. So we'll finish on the story of a wee woman who's saved her for a house fire.
That's right.
For the embers of a wildfire.
Yes.
That's today's happy story, folks. If you don't know what that's about, you can see it in the BBC website, you can see it in the newspaper Daily Records website, all them. We Doug called Freckles, a wee collie, woke his mammy up when the house was on fire.
Intelligent. Collies are very intelligent dogs anyway, so yeah, it's very, very good. Yeah. But do you not think it was? Do you think it was acting out of self-interest because all the windows and doors were locked, and the wee collie was going, if I don't wake this bitch up, right? It's like I'm stuck in here with her, but I'm getting roasted alive. Yeah, there you go.
Exodus movement of the people. Bob Marley. Another Zionist.
There you go.
Right, folks. 58. We'll start rounding this one up, David. Well, that was an interesting. Quite enjoyed that one. Some really interesting comments.
There are a few there that are watching briefs, and I do suggest, of particular, of any of them, I would look at this Prax refinery.
That one's getting filed, David. I'll be watching for stories on Prax. I will be.
The other one is Rachel from accounts. We give her a week, but
maybe a bit longer. Depends on how long it takes.
Don't forget, Starmer isn't going to sack her today because it was tears. The woman was in tears.
No. And the other watching brief in there is, folks, watch for the reports coming out to CEPA on the damage being done to the west of Scotland by Fastlane Naval Base and Coalport Storage Facility. They'll be out at some point over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye out for them.
We haven't.
You have to sign up to the ferret.
Yeah, when we haven't reported on is anything to do with Trump. Trump definitely is a watching brief at the moment because there's very little coming for that direction.
Thanks, Arthur.
Very little coming for that direction is because it seems that Trump has fucked America. Simple as that, right? And also, why did he hit Iran? Well, it seems that another story is coming out. They've just finished building the main hub for the rail and road network that's coming from China. switched on the lights, and that meant America went, "What the fuck?" And they sent
Anyway,
a bomber. There you go.
hey, we're gonna wind this one up. Try ending the good news story. You batter in mere warfare, you bamhead. Now, folks, watch the Larry the Cat's channel, watch Reagan Week's channel, and all the rest of the vloggers doing that.
Yeah, good
And
news.
watch the ones here. Watch Independence Live. Watch the Rosa. Watch News for Scotland. There's a few of them out there. Broadcast in Scotland. Watch the Scottish ones as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Now hit the like button on the way out the door, folks. It helps the algorithm. Okay. And Reagan Week's going out. I think he's on the climate tonight. I think it's the climate tonight he's doing. But you can let us know in the comments as we round this one up. Thanks for your support for the food banks today, folks. Thanks to the moderators for moderating if they're here. If no, Alistair, can I give you a spanner? You're always here. Okay. His spanner's on about half a dozen YouTube channels, David. But it would appear we're short of spanners this afternoon.
Yes.
Right, but anyway, thanks for your donations. Thanks for your contributions. Time for me to get to work, David. Busy night ahead of me. So we'll say goodbye. Goodbye, David.
Bye, David. Bye, guys.
Bye, folks. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10:30. He'll be back on Monday. Bye.